So here's a question that many of us have asked ourselves at one point in time or another. Why do we fall harder for the ones who don't care about us? People who give us little to no attention, or those who treat us badly. They say nothing is more painful than the feeling of loving someone who doesn't love you back. Yet many of us find ourselves experiencing this kind of heartache over and over again. But why? What is it about these people who give us so little that we crave them more? Well, according to science, there are certain reasons why some people may seem more desirable, even when they show little interest in you. And by understanding these reasons, we can better understand ourselves and the choices we make in relationships. 9. Scarcity increases value. Have you ever noticed how people seem more desirable when they're rare or hard to get? This phenomenon is called scarcity, and it happens because our brains love novelty and unpredictability. When something is rare, it becomes more valuable in our minds, and thus we crave it more. This is why lottery tickets are so popular. Even though the odds of winning are slim, people still buy tickets because the potential reward is so great. Similarly, when someone gives us little to no attention, it can create a sense of scarcity around them, making them seem more valuable and therefore more desirable. As a result, we may start to chase after them in an attempt to obtain their attention or affection. But this is not always a healthy or productive way to approach relationships. Remember, just because someone is rare or hard to get doesn't mean they're right for you. Sometimes it's best to let go of someone who isn't willing to invest in the relationship. 8 dopamine spike. Have you ever noticed how the person who ignores you the most is the one you think about all the time? When someone gives you sporadic attention, it can cause your brain to release a surge of dopamine, a neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and reward. This is similar to the dopamine spike you get from activities like gambling or drug use. Over time, your brain can become accustomed to this dopamine rush and start to crave it more and more, leading you to chase after the person who gives you this kind of attention. But this is not a healthy or sustainable way to maintain a relationship. It's important to remember that while dopamine can be a powerful motivator, it can also lead to addiction and obsessive behavior. If you find yourself constantly chasing after someone who gives you little in return, it may be helpful to take a step back and assess the situation more objectively. With a clear mind, you can make a more informed decision about whether or not this relationship is right for you. 7. Rejection triggers the brain's pain centers. Have you ever experienced the pain of rejection? It can be a difficult and emotionally charged experience that can leave us feeling hurt, angry, and confused. But did you know that this pain is actually a real physical sensation? That's right. When we experience rejection, our brain's pain centers light up as if we've been physically hurt. This is because rejection activates the same regions of the brain that are responsible for processing physical pain. But why does our brain respond to rejection in such a physical way? Well, it's because social rejection is a threat to our survival. From an evolutionary standpoint, being rejected by a group or a community meant being left out in the cold, both literally and figuratively. It meant not having the protection and support of a group, which could lead to death. Therefore, our brain has evolved to treat social rejection as a serious threat, triggering the same response as physical pain. So the next time you experience the pain of rejection, know that you're not alone. Your brain is just trying to protect you from a threat that it perceives as dangerous. And while it may be painful to feel rejected, it's important to remember that it's not a reflection of your worth or value as a person. 6. We confuse emotional tension with attraction. Have you ever found yourself drawn to someone who gives you a lot of mixed signals? One moment they're giving you all the attention in the world, and the next they're completely ignoring you. You can't help but feel frustrated and confused, but you can't seem to stop thinking about them. The truth is that this type of emotional roller coaster is not actually a sign of attraction at all. Instead, it's a sign of something called emotional tension. Emotional tension is a state of mind where you feel uncertain about the outcome of a situation. It creates a sense of anticipation and excitement that can be highly addictive. In relationships, this type of tension can be caused by a variety of factors, such as a lack of communication, inconsistency in behavior, or a general sense of uncertainty about the future of the relationship. However, it's important to remember that emotional tension is not the same as attraction. Attraction is a positive emotion that is based on admiration, respect, and a sense of connection with another person. On the other hand, emotional tension is a negative emotion that is based on uncertainty, fear, and a lack of control. While emotional tension may be exciting at first, it can quickly become overwhelming and exhausting. It can lead to feelings of anxiety, stress, and even depression. Now 5. The chase becomes more addictive than the reward. Have you ever been in a situation where you were chasing after something that seemed just out of reach? At first, the thrill of the chase was exciting, but over time, it became more addictive than the reward itself. This is a common phenomenon that happens when we become obsessed with achieving something that we want. Our brain is wired to seek out rewards and avoid pain. When we are chasing after something that we want, our brain releases a surge of dopamine, a neurotransmitter that makes us feel good. This dopamine rush makes us feel motivated and driven to keep going. But what happens when we finally catch up with the reward? Oftentimes, the pleasure we get from the reward is not as intense as the dopamine rush we experienced while chasing it. This is because our brain adapts to the reward and starts to see it as the new normal. As a result, we begin to chase after bigger and bigger rewards to get the same dopamine rush that we used to get from smaller rewards. This is called the hedonic treadmill, and it's a concept that applies to many areas of our lives, including relationships. When we're in a relationship where we feel like we're chasing after the person, our brain can get addicted to the chase. This can lead us to become obsessed with winning over the person and getting their attention. But once we finally do win them over, the relationship can become boring and unsatisfying. This is because our brain has already adapted to the reward and is now chasing after a new, bigger reward. Now 4. Childhood patterns. Have you ever noticed how you tend to crave what you didn't have enough of as a child? This is because our childhood experiences shape our attachment styles and influence the types of relationships we seek out in adulthood. If you didn't receive enough attention as a child, you may develop a strong need for attention and validation from others, leading you to pursue relationships that provide that kind of validation. Similarly, if you had inconsistent caregivers who were sometimes attentive and loving, but other times neglectful or unresponsive, you may develop a pattern of seeking out partners who are emotionally unavailable or who give you mixed signals. This is because you're subconsciously trying to recreate the inconsistent but exciting relationship you had with your caregivers. While it's normal to be influenced by our past experiences, it's important to be aware of how our childhood patterns may be affecting our current relationships. With self-awareness and effort, we can break free from unhealthy relationship patterns and create the fulfilling connections we deserve. No. 3. Ignoring creates mystery. Have you ever noticed how people seem more attractive when they're mysterious? When someone ignores us, it creates a sense of mystery around them, making us curious and eager to know more. This is because our brains are wired to seek out novelty and uncertainty. When we encounter someone who is mysterious, our curiosity gets piqued, and we start to wonder about their thoughts, feelings, and motivations. This can create a sense of excitement and intrigue that makes the person seem more desirable. However, it's important to note that this is just an illusion. When we finally get to know the person better and the mystery is revealed, the person may not live up to the expectations we've created in our minds. That's why it's important to be careful when pursuing someone who is mysterious or aloof. Don't let your curiosity get the better of you, and cause you to overlook red flags or ignore warning signs. Take the time to get to know the person on a deeper level before investing too much time and emotion into the relationship. Remember, a relationship built on a foundation of lies or deception is not a healthy or fulfilling one. Now, 2. Mystery creates desire. Have you ever wondered why people are drawn to those who are mysterious? According to Helen Fisher, an anthropologist and expert on love and relationships, mystery creates desire. When we don't know everything about someone, we fill in the blanks with our imagination, often filling them in with positive traits and characteristics. This is called the mystery effect. When we don't have all the information about someone, our brains love to speculate and fill in the gaps, often creating a more idealized version of the person in our heads, and desire what we don't have. This is why people are often drawn to those who are unattainable or out of their league. We create this fantasy around them and desire to be with them because of what we think they represent rather than who they actually are. However, as Helen Fisher points out, when we finally get to know these mysterious people, we often find that they are not the perfect partners we imagined them to be. The mystery is gone, and so is the desire. This is why it's important to be careful when pursuing someone who is mysterious or unattainable. Don't let your desire for what you think they could be cause you to overlook red flags or ignore warning signs. Take the time to get to know them on a deeper level before investing too much time and emotion into the relationship. Now, 1. Truth. Sometimes we don't love the person. We love the challenge. Have you ever thought about why you might be attracted to someone who doesn't seem to want you? Is it because you enjoy the challenge of trying to win them over? According to psychology, this is completely normal and even encouraged. In fact, psychologists believe that enjoying the chase is actually a natural human instinct. The reason for this is that our brains are wired to seek out challenges and rewards. And when we meet someone who is evasive or difficult to pursue, it triggers our brain's reward system. This creates a sense of excitement and anticipation that can be highly addictive. However, it's important to note that this kind of attraction can sometimes be confused with real romantic love. That's why it's crucial to take a step back and honestly evaluate our feelings. Are we truly in love with this person, or are we just infatuated with the idea of winning them over? Ultimately, it's important to remember that just because something feels good in the moment, it doesn't mean it's healthy or beneficial in the long run. So if you find yourself in a situation where you're chasing after someone who doesn't seem to want you, it might be helpful to take a step back and ask yourself why you're doing it. Is it because you're truly in love with this person, or are you just addicted to the chase? If you enjoyed this video, please like and share it with your friends. If you have any thoughts or suggestions, please leave them in the comments section below. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.